Hello dear students, let us try to have an understanding about how the plants that were living in water moved from water to the land. That is the transition of plants from water to the land, from the aquatic environment to the terrestrial environment. By looking closely into the life history of the Bryophytes, which are aptly called the amphibians of the plant kingdom. Why these plants that are living in water move from water to the land? Why do they have to do that? These plants that were living in water evolved in water, developed into several forms, living happily over there, had to move from water to the land because of some of the geographical features that took place in the earlier times of the earth. There was this tectonic plate movements, volcanic eruptions, changes in temperature, resulting in the receding of water, resulting in the emergence of land. When they started receded, land emerged from water. So as the land emerged from water, the plants that were there living in those areas where the land emerged had also to move out from water to the land. So these plants that moved from water to the land had only one option but to survive. Of course, they had this advantages of getting unfiltered sun for photosynthesis, more of carbon dioxide, availability of rich nutrients, lesser threats from pathogens and herbivores. Of course, they had to face the challenges like scarcity of water, dryness in land, lack of mechanical support or the medium of support. The water that was there as the medium enabled them to float. When they moved to the land, they had to get flattened on the surface of the substratum like the land or rock wherever they are settled. And they also had to take up a lot of adaptations for survival. They need to obtain water and to prevent themselves from drying out. That also, these plants that moved from water to the land had to take up a lot of adaptations. These plants that were living in water had a very simple cellular organization, just photosynthesis and reproduction, lesser function and lesser complexity. Whereas when the plants moved from water to the land, there was this complexity in the cellular organization and functioning. Say for example, these plants that when they moved to the land had to become flattened plant bodies called the thalluses, two-sided plant bodies. The upper side facing the sunlight had to take up the role of photosynthesis. The lower side, which is facing away from the sunlight with lesser exposure to the sunlight, became achlorophyllous and take up the role of absorption of water and minerals and supplying that to the photosynthetic zone. And some of the lower cells also had to fix the plant body into the substratum. And then of course there was this development of mechanical cells enabling the plant body to stand little erect. Say in the mosses you had this sporophytic plant body standing erect. All that changes took place. And then this conducting mechanism, the vascular system, where the absorption takes place in one area and the water and minerals needs to be conducted to the other parts of the plant body. So this vascular system allowing water and minerals to be distributed throughout the plant. And one another challenge that the plants had was when they were living in water, they had flagellated reproductive structures and water was there favoring them to swim and reach zygotes for fertilization, whereas the land plants do not have access to water, so they had to reproduce without water. there was this change in the life phase. The earlier plants and the earlier bryophytes had water dependent haploid gametophytic life phase as the dominant phase, whereas the evolved plants that moved from water to the land shifted to less dependent dominant sporophytic phase on water. So they became better survivors. They could survive even without the availability of water.